Hello everyone, welcome to Java Learners. In this video, we are going to learn how to use conditional on class annotation with bean annotation. To understand how to use conditional on class annotation with bean annotation, we are going to follow this class diagram. In this class diagram, we can see that we have a class named as RabbitMQ, and this RabbitMQ class implements message queue interface. We have another class named as RabbitMQ Manager, and this RabbitMQ Manager class has a dependency of message queue, and in this dependency we are going to inject this RabbitMQ instance. We also have a configuration class, that is RabbitMQ Manager configuration, and we are going to annotate this class with configuration annotation. In this class, I will create one method and I will annotate this method with bean annotation, and using this method I will create a bean for RabbitMQ Manager. On this method, I would apply conditional on class annotation, and in the value I will pass RabbitMQ.class, which means that the bean for RabbitMQ Manager would be created only when the RabbitMQ class is present in the class path. If RabbitMQ class is not present in the class path, then bean would not be created for RabbitMQ Manager. I have created a Spring Boot project, and in this project I am going to use Spring Boot version 3.4.1, and in the dependencies I am going to use Spring Boot starter dependency. In this project, I have created a package named as onClass, and inside this onClass package, I have created three different packages. So the first package is the config package, and the second package is MQ Manager, and the third package is Queue. Inside the Queue package, I have further created a package named as IMPL, and in the queue package I have created an interface named as message queue, and this interface has no methods. Inside the IMPL package I have created the class named as RabbitMQ, and this RabbitMQ class implements message queue interface. In the RabbitMQ class I have also created one no argument constructor, and this constructor would be invoked when the object for RabbitMQ would be created. In the IMPL package, I have also created a class named as test, and inside this test class, I have also created one no argument constructor. We will use this class for testing purpose. In the MQ Manager package, I have created a class named as RabbitMQ Manager, and this RabbitMQ Manager class has a dependency of message queue. In the RabbitMQ Manager class, I have created one argument constructor, and in the constructor we are accepting the object of type message queue, and then we are assigning this message queue object to the reference variable of message queue, and we have also added the println statement in the constructor, and whenever this constructor would be invoked, this message would be printed. In the config package, I have created a class named as RabbitMQ Manager Configuration. It's a configuration class, so I have annotated it with configuration annotation. In this configuration class, I have created two methods, and both of these methods are annotated with bean annotation. Using the first method, we are going to create a bean for RabbitMQ Manager, and using the second method, we are going to create a bean for test. In the first method, along with this bean annotation, we have applied this conditional on class annotation, and in the value attribute of this conditional on class annotation, we are passing RabbitMQ.class. So it means that the bean for RabbitMQ Manager would be created only when this RabbitMQ class is present in the class path. If RabbitMQ class is not present in the class path, then the bean for RabbitMQ manager would not be created. In the second method, we are creating a bean for test, and it has nothing to do with the first method. So whenever the RabbitMQ manager configuration class would be loaded, the bean for RabbitMQ manager would be created conditionally, and the bean for test would be created without any condition. So it means that bean for RabbitMQ manager would be created only when this RabbitMQ class is present in the class path, but this test bean would always be created. I'm going to move this test class from IMPL package to Q package, because we are going to exclude this IMPL package to test uh, when the class is not present in the class path. So if we keep the test class in the IMPL package, then when we will exclude the IMPL package, at that time this test class would also be unavailable from the jar file. So that's why I have moved this test class from IMPL package to the Q package. Now I'm going to build the project. Build is created successfully. Now I'm going to run it. Here we can see that the environment constructor of RabbitMQ is invoked. Then we can see that the bean for RabbitMQ manager is created, and the bean for test is also created. Now I'm going to do one thing. Now I'm going to extract the jar into a folder, and we'll check whether the RabbitMQ class is present in the jar file or not. So here we can see that the project jar is present. So I'm going to extract it. Inside the Q package, we can see that the IMPL package is present. And inside the Q package, we can see that we have uh, two class files. The first one is message queue, and the second one is test.class. And inside this IMPL package, we have only one class, which is RabbitMQ. The RabbitMQ class is present in the jar file. That's why the bean for RabbitMQ manager was created. Now what I'm going to do, now I'm going to exclude this IMPL package from this jar file, and then I will build the application, and then I will run it, and then again we will extract the jar into a folder to verify whether this RabbitMQ class is excluded from the jar file or not. In order to exclude a package from the jar file, we need to add one task in the build.gradle file. So here you can see that I have added the task to exclude the IMPL package from the jar file. So now what I'm going to do, now I'm going to build the project. Build is successful. Now I'm going to run the application. Here we can see that the bean for RabbitMQ manager is not created. The bean is created for test class only. And this is happening because the RabbitMQ class is not present in the jar file. So I'm going to extract the jar file and will verify it. I'm going to extract this jar file into a folder. Jar file extracted successfully. Now I'm going to look for the IMPL package in the jar file. In the Q folder, we can see that we do not have any folder for IMPL. And this is happening because we have excluded the IMPL package from the jar file. So the RabbitMQ class which we created inside the IMPL package is not present in the jar file. So that's why the bean for RabbitMQ manager was not created. Let us consider a scenario where this RabbitMQ class is present in a jar file and that jar file is included as a dependency in our project. And suppose if the jar file is not present at the compile time, then what will happen? So suppose if the jar file is not present at the compile time, then this rabbit MQ class would also be missing at the compile time. So in order to simulate that scenario, what I am going to do, I am going to remove this rabbit MQ class from the project. So here we can see that we are getting the compilation error. So let me do one thing. Let me build this project. So here we can see that the build is failing, and build is failing because this rabbit MQ class is missing at the compile time. So how we can handle such scenarios where the class is missing at the compile time, but it may or may not be present at the runtime. In order to fix this problem, what we can do, instead of using the value attribute from at conditional on class annotation, we can use the name attribute. In the name attribute, we can pass the fully qualified name for RabbitMQ class. So in case of name attribute, we do not need to assign the RabbitMQ.class. Instead, we can assign a string value to this value attribute. Here at line number 13, you can see that we have replaced the value attribute with the name attribute, and instead of passing the RabbitMQ.class, we are providing the fully qualified path for RabbitMQ. So the error is gone from line number 13. Now we are seeing an error at line number 15. I have rewritten the code inside this MQ manager method. So previously we were directly creating the object for RabbitMQ manager, and then we were passing the instance of RabbitMQ. But here we do not have the RabbitMQ class present at the compile time. So we have to follow another approach. So using the class.forName, we are able to get the reference of the class, and we are storing that reference into the class reference variable. And then using the new instance method, we are creating an instance for q, and here this q would be representing the RabbitMQ object. And then we are creating an instance of RabbitMQ manager, and inside the constructor of this RabbitMQ manager, we are passing the q reference variable. And we have also put in this code inside the try block, because this code can throw an exception. So inside the catch block, we are rethrowing the exception, and using the throw the exception, uh, we are going to rethrow the exception again. Now what I'm going to do, now I'm going to build this project again. So here we can see that the build is successful, and this RabbitMQ class is not present inside the IMPL package. And if I will check the jar file for this RabbitMQ class, then we will see that this RabbitMQ class is not present in the jar file. Okay, before that, let me make one change in the build.gradle file. So in the build.gradle file, we have defined one task to exclude the IMPL package from the jar file. So I'm going to remove this task. I'm going to build the project again. Build is successful. Now what I'm going to do, now I'm going to extract the jar into a folder, and then we will check whether the RabbitMQ class is present in the jar file or not. So here we can see that the project jar is available. Now I'm going to extract it into a folder. Inside the Q package, we can see that the IMPL package is not present. RabbitMQ class is not present in this jar file. So if I run the application, then the bean for RabbitMQ manager should not be created, but the bean for test should be created. So I'm going to run the application. So here we can see that the bean for test is created, but the bean for RabbitMQ manager is not created. Reason is that the RabbitMQ class is not present in the jar file. Now I'm going to create of RabbitMQ class in the IMPL package again. So here we can see that the RabbitMQ class is created inside the IMPL package. I have created the RabbitMQ class again inside the IMPL package, because we are going to check the other scenario where the RabbitMQ class is present in the jar file. Then we will see whether the bean for RabbitMQ manager would be created or not. We are going to verify that scenario. Inside the build.gradle, we have already removed the task which was to exclude the IMPL package from the jar file. Now I am going to build the project. So here we can see that build is successful. Now I am going to run the application. So here we can see that the bean for RabbitMQ manager is created, and the constructor of RabbitMQ is also invoked, and bean is also created for test class. Now I'm going to extract the jar into a folder, and we'll see whether this RabbitMQ class is present in the jar file or not. Inside the Q package, we can see now that this IMPL package is present. And inside this IMPL package, this RabbitMQ uh, class is also present. So that's why the bean for RabbitMQ manager was created, because this RabbitMQ class is present in the jar file. That's it for this video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and please provide your comments in the comment section. Thank you.